Welcome to today's training video. I'm Steve Stedman. I'm the founder of Stedman Solutions. Today we're going to talk about one of the common items reported by the SQL Daily Checkup. The warning message that you get from the SQL Daily Monitoring that we're going to talk about today is the logs being flooded with backup messages. By default, the way SQL Server is set up, every time a backup is run, whether it's a log backup or differential backup or a full backup, it writes an entry into the SQL Server log telling that was a backup that occurred. This is kind of one of my personal peeves because what it does, if you have a system that's being backed up regularly or lots of databases and you have regular or frequent log backups, is it fills up this log file with nothing but warnings, or not even warnings, nothing. It just fills it up with statements that say your database has been backed up. And that makes it so that if you've got a log file that has 150,000 rows in there that says everything is groovy and that your database was backed up, it makes it really hard to find that one or two rows in that 150,000 rows that actually say that there's some kind of problem that occurred. So what we recommend doing is turning on trace flag 3226. And what SQL Server trace flags are is these are kind of startup parameters, or a way of saying that run SQL Server in a different mode from the default. And what trace flag 3226 does is it says, just don't write these things to the log file. So the way that we're going to do this is we're going to go to the SQL Server Configuration Manager, look at the configuration for the currently running SQL Server instance. This happens to be running SQL Server 2019. We're going to look at the startup parameters, and we're going to put in a parameter here, and it's going to be -T 3226, and you're going to add that parameter. And what that does is it says next time SQL Server restarts, that it will run and not write all those backup messages to the error log, and that you'll only see errors, or you'll see errors and less messages in there. The thing you want to do is, and it says this here, any changes made will be saved. However, they won't take place until the service has been stopped and restarted. Now, what some people may do is you may say, okay, I'm not going to restart the SQL Server at this point. The next time it restarts, that'll go into effect. But the problem in doing that is if you have a typo on that and you then go and attempt to restart the SQL Server, that typo may prevent the SQL Server from starting up correctly. So what we recommend doing is that when you make the change, that you restart SQL Server, and that may mean that you have to make the change after hours sometime during a maintenance window, but you restart the SQL Server right away so that if it fails to start, you know it's probably because of a typo in something you did in there, rather than if the next restart is in 3 or 4 weeks and you completely forget that you made this change. So once that's been done, you will no longer be getting these database backed up and backup databases messages written into the SQL Server log. Well, one of the things that comes to question is, well, how do we know about backups if that's the case? Well, the way we can take a look at that, and I have a sample script here that I'll make available on the blog. If we go and actually run a backup of one of the databases here, we can go and look using a query like this that we'll make available on my blog, and it will go and instead of looking at the log, it goes and looks at the tables in MSDB that track backup history, like backup media family and backup set. And we can look at that and see that here is a history of all of those backups that occurred without having to go to the log to get that information. Trace flag 3226, I recommend on every SQL Server I think that I've ever worked on. Here's some more information that may help you out. My blog, where we can get more information, stevestedman.com or stedmansolutions.com. And the last link will be the Stedman Solutions SQL Daily Checkup monthly subscription. We have lots of people using the SQL Daily Checkup today. And if it's something that you'd like to use, let me know and we'll get it set up for you. All right. Have a great day.